Hey, my friends. So I am back. The turkey is cooking in the oven. It's been about an hour, and my apartment is getting hot. So I have the fans on to keep the air circulating. Hopefully, the sound of the fans won't be much of a distraction. So the next thing I wanted to make was some cornbread. So I just want to do something quick. So I picked up some Jiffy corn mix, which I love making. So I'm going to use 2 packets of this, and with it, I'm going to add 2 boxes of this, 2/3 a cup of milk, 2 eggs, and then I'm going to add in some diced green chilies, and sweet kernel corn and cream style corn. So it'll make it a real creamy, dense kind of cornbread instead of, it won't be kind of like a light and fluffy, bready thing. It'll be a little more dense and moist, which is kind of how I like it. Okay, so I'm just gonna get things mixed up, and I got these 3 pans, so I will grease these with some butter that I have, and then once I mix everything up, let it sit for maybe a minute or two, and then pour it in these containers and throw it in the oven to cook while the turkey is still cooking. So let's get started. Now again, just so you know, I'm learning as I go with the cooking thing, but I'm having fun with it. But, and I'm sure at some point I can learn how to make cornbread from scratch with the cornmeal or whatever. Oh. Hold on. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. So here's the thing. I paused because I thought that I had 2 packs of the Jiffy corn muffin mix, but this actually turned out to be a pie crust mix. So I only have 1. So that changes my formulation a bit. So I'll be doing with the 1 egg and 1/3 a cup of milk, and I'm still gonna add the ingredients. So it'll be a little moister than I expected, but hey, that's what you get. During my break after I made put the turkey in the oven, I ran to the Smart and Final to see if they had more corn muffin mix, but they were out. So I didn't realize when I got back that I only had 1. I was thinking I was going to do 3, but c'est la vie. And it's fine because it's not like I could feed that to Rusty. So a smaller amount of cornbread will work for me because I don't need to be eating a ton of cornbread. Anyway, but we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. So I got 1 pack in here, and I'm going to add in 1 egg. And then 1/3 a cup of milk. Now, I don't really buy milk all that much, so I'm gonna need to come up with something else to make the milk with. I might try and make it into a yogurt, because if you take like a tablespoon or 2 of plain yogurt and boil it, boil the milk, on low, just to warm it up, then stir in, actually once it cools, you want to stir in the few tablespoons of yogurt and then sit it in your oven with the oven off, and in like 24 hours it'll turn into yogurt. But I don't know if we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna get cracking with this. So I'm gonna add in the cream salt corn and the sweet corn. Now I put in both because the cream salt corn makes it creamier. But I like having the chunks of the corn kernel. And I drained off the juice for the chili. That might have been a little too much chili for this, but what the heck. I like being adventurous with my cooking. So I have all this in here, and I'm just going to stir this up. Now sometimes I add a little bit of cheese to it, but I'm gonna make some macaroni and cheese. So I'm not gonna add it to this because that'll make it, with the cream salt corn, it'll make it much more dense. So it won't be as bready. All right. So I'm going to let this sit for a few minutes because I put in everything very quickly. I'm gonna let it sit for a few minutes, and then I will add to the pans and stick it in the oven. Okay. All right, I am back. So I'm letting this cornmeal sit for a few minutes. And what I'm going to do is butter the pans. So I'm just using some whipped unsalted butter that I had left over from Land O'Lakes. And I'm going to take some tissue, napkins, toilet paper, whatever, and just spread it around. So you want to cover the entire thing. That way it doesn't stick too much to the sides once it cools. So I'm going to do this very quickly. That's one. And this is kind of a quick way to make cornbread using the Jiffy. But I like it, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay. So I've got all three of those covered. And I don't know how much it will rise, but I'm going to take a little bit and put it into each of the three loaf pans. So forgive me for the awkwardness of these shots because, like I said, I'm still figuring out how to shoot this stuff, let alone cook these recipes. So Okay. So I've got these 3 containers, and hopefully they'll rise a bit. It's kind of covering maybe a third of each is what it turned out to be. So it may rise to the whole thing, or it may kind of stay underneath. But either way, because it's just me, I wanted to use these 3 loaf things because it's easy to store, and I can always like take one after it's been cooked. If it takes me too long to eat, the first 2, I can put one in the freezer. But it's just easier to manipulate with a smaller pan in my fridge than to make some big thing for a ton of people when it's just me. Okay, so now I will stick this in the oven and get it cooking, and I'll check on the turkey as well. All right, see you.